Welcome back to the X Podcast. I am with the hunter in the wild.
Woo-hoo!
Can't even see you.
I know.
You look great.
I got camo on.
And you're tan. You've been different places.
I have. You're pretty tan too. Is that from the tanning bed, or
I don't go to the tanning
or is that
bed.
from running
I don't
outside?
go to the tanning bed. Honestly,
Shirtless.
Alana and I were in a pickleball tournament a couple weeks ago, right when the heat wave struck the Midwest, and I got burnt to a crisp.
Ooh.
And then I will say, today's hot.
Yeah.
But
That's not bad.
but the temperature's not been as bad, so I did run a 5K during lunch.
Oh wow.
And
Shirtless?
No,
Oh.
not shirtless.
I know you like to run shirtless a lot.
Look, I actually value the digestive system of my neighbors, and so I
Oh,
so
my
you know
gosh.
try to protect them. Although it is funny the amount of people sometimes I forget. They'll be at the church, be like, "Hey,
Saw you running."
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you had to see that. But
I love your confidence.
well, it's,
I don't know. It's just I don't know if it's.
I
I don't know if it's because you
confidence,
wrote
I
a
still-
book.
Just
I
don't care. You know?
I don't. Okay. I didn't know if it was just from writing a book or what.
About confidence.
You just seem really confident.
You know, a lot's going on. What? Tell me some new things going on in your life.
Meaning,
You've been traveling.
we did a bit of traveling.
Been
Got to
traveling.
go
What
on
have
a
you been
trip.
reading?
Okay. Well, you know what's interesting?
Yes.
I told this to our good buddy Zach, because one of the books that he liked
You
on.
just saw him in Disney.
Yeah, I did.
Let me tell you, that is a happy man whenever
he-
he's near Mickey.
Yes, he does love it. We had a good time. So okay, I'll give you a rundown of what I'm reading,
Okay.
what I read so far this summer. Finished a book called Crucial Conversations.
Okay.
It's a really good book. I don't know if you've read it. That's an excellent one. I started a book on AI because I like to read a lot of books on AI, and this one was one that Zachary loved, or I think enjoyed, and mentioned it. He's like, "You read it?" It's called AI 2041.
Okay.
I got maybe a quarter through it, and I was like, I can't listen to this anymore.
Wait, is that the one you started like a year or two ago?
No.
Oh.
You're talking about probably Homo Deus by.
No.
Are you talking about 2084?
Yes,
Okay,
that
not
was it.
2084.
Okay,
This
okay.
is so AI 2041.
Are you gonna see Megan 2.0?
Oh yeah, I'll probably watch that. I saw the first one.
It's out.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Mhm.
Yeah. This one. Here's what I don't like. You'll laugh and you'll understand why. This one is kind of an AI expert scientist who was kind of predicting potentially what our world will be like, how AI will impact us in 20 years. It came out in 21. But he also got together with another friend that he worked with in technology, who's a science fiction writer. And so each chapter around a different concept, the whole first part of the chapter is a science fiction story.
There's
Why
So-
are you laughing? I knew you would.
because I immediately know how much PZ loved it and how much you were rolling your eyes and dying inside.
So I told him, I was like, dude, I tried to read this book. I can't do it. I like so they'll have a different concept of AI, which some of it is very fascinating. One was on deep fake. And so it's kind of the story in Africa of like recruiting this kid and forcing him kind of almost blackmail to do these deep fake political videos. And it talks about all the crazy ways that it does it to map every muscle movement of the faces so that it looks real and all this stuff. I like the information on the stuff. I can't stand listening through the science fiction stories. I'm like, just get. So there's one chapter. He's like, did you hear the chapter on drones? I was like, no. He's like, it's pretty interesting considering the use of drones in warfare and everything. I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and find that chapter. But anyways, so I skipped that one. Right now I'm going through a book called The Comprehensive Guide to Science and Faith. So those are my current reads. Anyways,
Nice. Very cool.
you reading anything interesting right now?
I'm always in the middle of too many books at one time. I am like one chapter away from being done with Levi's book, Blush of the Spiraling.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one chapter away from being done with Thirsting by Strand Coleman. I was listening on Audible actually to a couple books,
Yeah.
a few books at one time. This is probably the worst I've ever been at multiple books at one time. I'm almost done with Lewis Howes' book, Make Money Easy.
Oh.
It's
You probably get the gist following on social media.
yeah, like I figured there'd be something practical in it. There's nothing practical in it, which is fine.
Yeah.
And then actually Susan Cain, I've been listening to a book I started by her last year that I kind of lost interest in, but based on one of my current projects, it's called Bittersweet, all about melancholy.
Yeah.
It's a book for fours. So I've been listening to that. I've also slowly over the last year, like I'll listen to like a chapter a month. Been listening to Rick Rubin's The Creative Act. But I've been reading okay. You are absolutely going to make fun of me for this. I'm about halfway done. I bought
Bruce Lee.
No,
Oh.
but I've been definitely
You're
been on a
doing
deep
that.
dive, watching Bruce Lee videos and Yip Man and Wing Chun Kung Fu and
What is it?
all
And wonton and
my gosh.
And
I
also-
bought David Copperfield's History of Magic,
oh yeah, you told me that.
and about halfway through, and
I probably would be fascinated by it.
it's so fun.
I like magic.
It's so fun.
I like magic. I think it's
Yeah, I
It's
love
fun.
it. I feel like there's something else, but I can't remember.
well. I
But
don't know. I mean, you just listed 17
I
books
know,
that
it's not-
you're
it's
in the
not-
middle of.
It's
so
not good. It's not good.
You're one of those people
Um,
that start a lot of projects and don't finish very many. Would you say, or
Start projects or books?
well, it doesn't matter. Same thing or whatever. Start books.
You
You start books, not projects. You finish your projects.
I usually finish my project. Although I will say, I saw, was it Seth Rogen? Not Seth Rogen. Seth Godin.
Wow.
Seth Godin.
That's a big
I
difference.
saw
right there.
Seth Godin. I think he did a quote last year that I loved. He said, "Give yourself permission to not finish the books you don't want to finish."
You know what? I've done that recently. Just like that book. I'm like, because I tend to, if I start, I'm like a start and finish something. I tend to start one, I suffer through it. And it bothers me. I never thought it was like this. It bothers me on Audible when it doesn't show finished. Like like I pull it up, it's like 9
Yeah.
hours and 8 minutes left. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just staring at me. Am I gonna finish it? I don't know that will.
I don't know if this will be a thing by the time this comes out, but I'm getting ready to go on sabbatical,
Yeah,
so it's kind of crazy.
that's awesome.
Are you gonna miss me?
Oh,
like
my-
a lot?
What am I going to do? We're going to shut down the podcast. We're probably going to shut down the church.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll miss you.
Ye-
I'm going to miss this. We normally record every other week or so.
We do.
And so there's going to be several weeks that I'm going to have to get someone else to join me.
I know, but
Unless we record we probably
but
won't have
honestly,
time.
like emotionally, you'll be okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it'll be tough,
Yeah,
but
you'll
I'll get through it.
get through
I'll
it.
just get on Instagram and scroll through past photos of you.
Okay. Every day.
Yeah, I'll probably.
I love that.
I mean, we
Um,
can still text.
That's true.
That's
That's
like,
true.
it doesn't mean like you have to be dead.
That's true. I'm not dead to you. Okay. Speaking of things going on in our lives, I want to talk about something big going on in your life.
Whoa.
Something you've been working on for a while, and certain parts of it we'll leave mystery
while?
for now. We'll tease certain aspects of it. But I mean, should we do like a drum roll, or do you want to like? You've been working on something for a while.
Yes.
And-
want me to say it?
Just say it. Yeah.
Okay. I recorded a new album.
Oh.
I did not record a new album. I actually wrote another book,
Come on.
and this one was
Well, you have
a surprise book.
I was gonna say you have like half a book done.
I do.
that's-
I've got about 30 or 40% of a book that I was working on that I gave myself permission to pause.
to pause.
I'll come back to it, but I gave myself permission to pause it.
I feel like this book that you've just finished almost like feels like came out as like an epiphany from like left field.
It was. It literally, that's the introduction. It was an epiphany. It hit me. Like
And-
literally in a store, texting my daughter, and I was like, there needs to be a book for this.
Well, and what's funny is like I remember you said you will never guess the topic.
You
and
wouldn't
so
have.
I spent like 15 minutes in your office like,
You would
is
have-
it this? Is it this? Is it this?
You'd have never guessed it.
And it's such a, I think, brilliant niche subject and very, very, very you. Like, there's different parts of both of us that people will be like, oh, that's very you. So, Scary Faith, very you. You know, inspirational, faith-driven, very you. One day you write something on the nexus of science and faith, very you. But
Yeah.
this, the utilitarian, functional, efficiency is my love language.
Yes.
Practical,
Preach it.
mature side of you. I'm like, oh, this is your brainchild. This is you.
And it didn't dawn on me until like February. That's what's crazy.
And you knocked it out fast.
Yeah, I wrote the rough draft in 30 days.
Well, and it's supposed to be, very intentionally, it is a concise, more practical how-to guide, especially.
It was supposed to be. It got a little bit longer than I thought what I was aiming for.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But, okay.
What you want to say? Okay, so the book that I wrote is kind of how to navigate adulthood. Mm-hmm. It's not the title, but it really comes from...
It's the topic of adulting.
Yeah. It comes from... the inspiration really is that this has been kind of my world for the last 5 years, right? With my daughters, my oldest daughter, and she got married 5 years ago this summer.
Crazy.
And so it really kind of came out of, as a dad, I'm still constantly, they asking me, helping with their taxes, helping with, house, whether it's buying stuff, help them buy their cars, help them, insurance, here you shop this, help them on. So in a lot of really practical areas, because as a parent, you're never done being a parent.
Yeah.
And so as I've kind of watched them make a shift to adulthood and really launch on their own, and it's a difficult time to be taken off on your own. I mean, the cost of things are outrageous. The cost of housing is outrageous. It's a really difficult time to be, I would say, in that age that and it's just hard to figure out. And there's just really, school teaches you math and English and science and all these other great subjects. That's awesome. But it really does not prepare you for what it's like to be on your own, to, to get married, to have kids, to navigate. So I'm watching that with my grandson. And so it kind of feels, I love that. I love all things, I don't know how to say it, practical wisdom based, like, what's the best thing to do in this situation?
You've been able to move into the season of coach with your kids.
Yeah. And so I think that it just inspired me as I'd been having multiple conversations. It just kind of dawned on me. I was like, man, why isn't there a book for this? And I went out and looked, and there were some, not very many well known, and none that were probably shaped, even though this book is, it's not heavy in scripture. It doesn't follow a biblical story like Scary Faith did with Peter. It doesn't do any of that. A lot of my views on things, financial, relational, the future, vision for your life, all that, it really is informed by my faith. And so as I looked out there, I didn't come across anything that was coming from a perspective like this. I didn't find there are some out there, but there just wasn't a lot out there. And so I was like, maybe there's a need for something like this. I know it's really niche, the target is probably, I hate to say this because I do think that there's stuff in there that older, it's not just if you're 20 years old, but somebody in their 30s and 40s could probably find very beneficial. I had, in the peer review process, I had one lady read it who's a grandparent, so she has older kids, and her reaction was, I want to give a copy of this to every one of my grandkids. And so I think that there's something in it a little bit for everyone, but there definitely is a target, and it's kind of like, how do topics that I address and cover everything from buying, renting, or leasing a house, to buying or leasing a car, to going to college, and how do I process that, and how do I think about it in terms of debt, and I give real practical things that you can do in all of these areas. I talk about taxes, just some basic stuff, is to help someone understand what they're responsible for in taxes, because I see it with my kids, and grown up and married, moved out, and it's like taxes, like, oh, I don't know what to do, and did you let your employer know that you moved to a new house? Because they need to withhold tax. It just covers everything. Insurance, investment.
if you know Pastor Tim, you can bring up any of these topics, and you will. I think you would still be talking if they'd left the room. Just begin to externally process. Well, and then obviously, if you do this, and then obviously, like back in 1981. But okay, actually, that policy's changed. And so, you are a fountain of information. Number one, I'm convinced you became an adult at 11. You grew up.
I didn't, but I do tell a little bit of the story of us growing up very young.
You grew up very fast.
We did. We grew up very fast. We grew up young.
And you grew up, you matured very quickly, and you love this stuff, and you have a professor frequency about you, so it comes through in the book. It's just very, you're very knowledgeable. If you are the one who should write this book. So it feels very...
I tried to not only, some of it tells... a lot of it has a little story from my life and, and what I've dealt with. My chapter on investment really will talk about the potential $1.2 million mistake that we made. I talk about different things like that. I talk about buying a car, our first car. I talk about getting our first apartment. I talk about buying a house. I talk about all of those things that we've walked through, my wife and I, in becoming adults. And really the goal of this, because I put real practical stuff. So there's each chapter, at the end of each chapter has a section that's tips, tricks, and life hacks.
Yep.
And that's where it gets super practical. Even on houses, I'm on the mechanicals, here's kind of quick rundown of what you need to know for HVAC. This, just, and yet, even at the end, I kind of was working this book with the end in mind, because I'm also in a unique situation, a different season of life. That's what's weird about writing it is my daughters moved out. They both got married. We have a grandson now. We're in a fun season. We're in a season of our lives where we're still young enough and able to travel and do fun stuff. And I look back at my life and I go, hey, decisions that I made at 21 have positioned us. Not that we're wealthy or rich in that regard, but that we have a family that loves Jesus. They love our church. That we have a church that we love. We are what we're doing with our lives. We're having fun. We love what we're doing, what we're called to do. I kind of wanted to, and even the last chapter, just kind of hey, you have one opportunity to build your life. You have one chance at this. And I think a lot of times people we think of our 20s, our teens, throw caution to the wind. This is the decade when you can just do whatever you want to do, and I have plenty of time. And I was like, no, some of the decisions that you're going to make right now will determine what your life is like in your 40s and 50s and 60s. And when you're young, you don't think about those things. But you know this as well as me. It's I can remember being 21. I can remember when we got married, and it goes so fast. It's you just blink, and all of a sudden 30 years have gone by, and you got kids, and they've grown up, moved out, and you got a grandson, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm now living in the result of my decisions when I was younger. And so part of that was the impetus for wanting to write this, not only as I kind of write this for my daughters and their husbands, but I want to write it as well as a pastor. I feel that way about the next generation. I love the next generation. And I want to write it as here's a tool. Here's something that can help you launch, that can help you. I talk about bills and budgets and how you can build kind of a basic and what are tools that you can use to do it. I talk about credit cards. I have a whole chapter on credit cards. Let's just be real honest about credit cards. And most people are a mess, and they mess their lives up financially by decisions that they make often early on. And so if this can be a help to somebody so that they don't make some mistakes, or if there's some things that I've screwed up that I can say, hey, I wouldn't do this, then I wanted to be able to share that.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And I know one of the, when you do announce the title, I know one of the things that has been a desire is obviously for the next generation, you think about your daughters and you think about people growing up, but really, I think there's going to be something in here for everybody. I think there's a lot of adults, and I think that's the thing is I think a lot of people are embarrassed, at least in one area of their life, of, man, I can't tell anybody, but I'm still trying to figure things out there.
Yeah.
I still don't know. I mean, I heard I forget what stat it is, but so many grown men still feel like a little boy inside.
Yeah.
And still feel like, man, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I think everybody, when you're young, there's two things. One, like you said, you feel like I got all the time in the world to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then number two, you kind of have this like myth. Maybe it's like a specific age in your mind of when I get there,
Yep.
I'll have it all figured out.
Yeah.
And it didn't work like that.
No.
And so I don't think there's any shame. I think anybody that reads this will come away with an impact. And I think the format's great. It's almost like practical proverbs
Yeah.
for adulting. The chapters are really short.
Yep.
They're enough to hold your attention, engage, give you what you need. There's charts, there's
Yep.
visuals.
I did a lot of visuals in this, graphs.
And then life hacks at the end and tips and tricks. And then I think you do a really great job too of saying, hey, here's what I would recommend.
Yep.
And then with other things, you don't really even as much, because let's be honest, when you're young, nobody can tell you what to do.
Right.
It's more just like, hey, here are the options
Right.
and the pros and cons. Even with like housing and renting and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Here are the pros and cons of
Yeah.
all of them.
And I do, because I understand I have very strong perspective on things. But I even say it in books, like there's not one way to live life. There's not one way to do things. A lot of this is stuff that I feel like is maybe, I'd say, is wise, at least, in this to consider. Not that there's not other options. Because, I mean, even like when I did a chapter on cars. I love cars. I love helping people with getting cars. I have my daughters, other people. I think people make a lot of really bad mistakes with buying cars. I think people have a lot of regrets with cars. There's a variety of ways to approach that. And so when I talk about cars, for example, I say this is both an economic and an emotional decision. Because we do really love our cars. You do. And you spend a lot of time in your car. So I don't present just like, hey, here's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Or like, let me give you the information.
Yeah.
Let me draw it on a map. If you borrow this much at these many months, at this is how much you're paying for the car.
Yep.
Let me then also show you a practical tip that you can do that will help you save thousands of dollars potentially off the price of the car with almost feeling without even noticing. And so I try to give some like real practical things that I've figured out that have just made life a little bit easier for me.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Because there's how many chapters? 12?
13.
13, okay.
There's 11. I think there's 11. There's in first chapter, there's a final chapter, and then there's 11 subjects.
Okay. If you only had to keep 2 chapters, the 2 areas that you see people get in the most trouble with or miss the most opportunity with or make them the worst mistakes that affect their lives the most, if you had to keep 2 chapters, what would they be?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. If I had to do 2 chapters, and you're talking of just the content piece,
Yes.
not my roadmap to okay.
Yeah.
The 2 chapters I would probably pick are the one of the first chapters on there. It's bills, banks, and budgets. I think that how we start off in our understanding of getting started of handling money is one of the biggest pains that people feel in life, and I see that with people. And so I think that chapter, though it's probably not my favorite chapter of like just which ones I love, I think that chapter is absolutely crucial. I'd probably say the second chapter, it'd be really hard to pick. Probably be almost a toss-up between these 2, but one would be on relationships. Because when I think about all the other things, I think about credit cards, I think about cars, I think about taxes, I think about insurance, I think about investments. There's hopefully helpful information in there. But when I think of probably about the 2 biggest pain points in people's lives today that would wreck their lives, I think it's financial and relational. So the relationships one, where I talk about dating, and I talk about marriage, and I talk about singleness, and I talk about all 3, and I talk about kind of how should I think about these things in a way that's healthy. I think that chapter, or it'd be the one that I have, the second one would be probably, or number 3 would be close, would be the one on parenthood. because I think it's so critical. And even a chapter on parenthood, which I think could be helpful. Again, this is why I think people in their 30s and maybe even 40s could find some value in this, is that I don't think a lot of times we start with the goal and goal in mind. And so having raised daughters and going through these stages of adolescence and all these different stages where you go from having to be the disciplinarian to have to be the teacher, to having to be the coach, to having to be the advisor, and with the ultimate goal of friendship at the end, and really feeling like we've done that. I mean, we just went on a trip, and our youngest daughter, Audrey, came with us, and we had a blast, and she loves to be with us. Both of our kids, our other oldest daughter, we just got back 2 days ago before recording this, and she was like, we're coming over tonight. And Cohen has been asking for you the whole time. And so I think there's practical stuff. I talk about navigating sports. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You don't, until you have kids and then they start reaching an age, and I had kids that both did sports at pretty high levels, and like year round. And how do I navigate that? How do you afford that? How does that mesh with family life? How does that mesh with spiritual community? I kind of talk about that in there. And so I think probably the relational chapters, and then at least that one on finances.
Yeah.
Maybe follow it up by credit cards, because that's just just for a lot of people, that's a pain point. So
are there two topics that, if time and space permitted, you would have loved to also touch on?
Oh, beyond those. Oh, I actually have a list. I got to see if I can do this, because
there's that one that I kept trying to convince you to put in
yeah,
there.
you kept wanting me to do one on health. But there are, I also just know there's a lot out there that you can get on health, and I don't know if my perspective is going to be any better, but I do have a, hold on, let me get to this. I do have a, let me see, okay. I do have a list of topics. So one idea that I have that I'm throwing around is, and I have a Substack, is that I may have a way through this book that you want to continue the conversation and get some more real practical things on here. I mean, I've got stuff on here for, advancing in your career. I don't think that there's a lot given out there to young people to know, like, hey, what are some of the things that you can do that will help you really move forward in a career? It's not all about like just knowing a skill. There is emotional intelligence. There is a work ethic. There's certain things that you can do. And so not only as someone who's gone through that, but as someone in our organization, someone who's an employer, and you've been able to see that from executive level, you immediately go, hey, when I see this, I'm like, we got to promote. When I see this attitude, when I see this, when you do this. And so I think in today's climate, I think there could be some real help in that. So that's like one of the subjects. I do have one, getting on shape. I have one on planning a wedding. A lot of people, we've planned and done 2 weddings. And that, when you're a parent, and especially a parent, I had 2 daughters, like it feels like an impossibility to first just afford to live, provide for your kids and the things that they want to do, the sports they want to do. And then we're supposed to save for their college, and we're supposed to pay for a wedding. And both of my daughters got married young, which I can't tell them not to. I got married young. So, like, understanding, like, how do I juggle all that? There's just an immense amount of pressure that parents have to somehow meet some kind of societal standard for this that is not even real. And so part of what I wanted to say in parent chapter, and I do a little bit on there, this is, some of this isn't a real possibility. However, relax. There are some things that I can tell you about life, and as you're worried about now, you got 18 at least years, or let's say there are some things that are going to change that are going to position you. So I've got a lot of things about being a leader, how to take affordable vacations. There's more, mastering car maintenance. There's just a lot of different things. I got finding the guy or girl of your dreams. There's like a lot. I'm kind of collecting a list, because I had some people that were telling me, they're like, oh, what about this? What about this? I'm like, okay, well, this book could be so thick, no one's going to read it. And my goal was to keep this very readable. And here's the beautiful thing. Each one of these chapters are kind of they kind of sit alone. And so I tell people up front, like, hey, if you feel like, hey, I'm good on investment and I got this, feel free to skip it.
Yeah.
If a chapter on this will help you, dive into that one.
Yeah.
So I think whether you use this, or maybe even some people might, even buying a house. I go through the process of buying a house. I go through understanding how much, technically, and there's a rule out there, how much can I afford? What are banks going to look for? What am I going to need to do? What do I walk through the different steps. I show different things, in a mortgage, and I talk about the process of buying a home. I talk about all these different things. So it can be a tool that you're like, well, I'm 18 years old going to college. I don't know when I'm going to have kids or that. That's fine. There's plenty of stuff in there, but then it could be a resource when you could go back to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be such a powerful resource. The goal, hopefully, youth groups, college groups across the country to get a hold of it, parents, and then anybody in that age range of life and beyond. I think there's something in there for everybody, and I think it's powerful, and I love even just at the beginning of it, hearing your heart. And I know you've made sure, too, to even just make sure people can feel like there's a very practical side to you, but it's attached to a desire to see people become all they've been created to become, to experience the heights of life and to experience the fullness of life and set themselves up well. And you are that kind of reflection. I've heard some people be like, I want to be like PT when I grow up. And so you have walked it out, in all areas of your life. You're just healthy. And I always joke, I'm like, your only problem is you just never made any mistakes. You don't have any regrets.
I do.
But you're it's been said, but a testament of your parenting is when your grown kids don't want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
And they all do. And you may have made a $1.2 million mistake, but you got millions and millions now. And
I wish.
And
I'm not even close to that. Some of that is what I want people to learn from.
Yeah.
Like there are some things, and it's growing up is weird, and in our minds, probably in your mind, you still think, wow, one day when I grow up. I've just noticed the older I've gotten that your body starts to tell you at one point you're not young anymore, but in your mind you're the same person.
Yeah.
I'm the same 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can beat you in that race. I can do. You're the same person internally, and you never really kind of grow up in that regard. But what I did find out in life is that this is so true. What I really want to help people do is think through, how do you build the life that you really want?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, and I know this is the way it was even for us, because I don't feel like I had a resource like this, and so we'd rely on other people, but a lot of it was just figuring it out. Is that I think a lot of times we're going through life, and maybe even a young one, and we're just winging it, and we don't really have good information, or we don't really have a good understanding of all this stuff, and we're just like, I don't know, I'll try this. Hope it doesn't come to bite me in the butt, right? I hope try this, and then we learn by making mistakes. But I always say, and other people say, if you can learn from someone else's mistakes, or if you can learn something before you make a mistake, do it, because the end result is, and that's what I want to give people this vision, a picture of because I don't believe in retirement. And I say that when I talk about investment, I talk about it in there. And I don't think 19-year-olds are thinking about retirement. Heck, when I was 19 years old, I'm like, that's a lifetime away.
Yeah.
I'll never reach that, right? And so you don't ever think about those things. But I don't want to retire. But here's what I have found, especially as I've gotten older, I think it's okay to go, here's a life that I want to have.
Yeah.
And how do I prepare for that life?
Yeah.
So, what's the kind of marriage that you want to have? Well, prepare for that. What's the kind of person you want to be? Who's the kind of person you want to find, right? Talk about that a little bit, but what's the kind of relationship you want to have? No one thinks about this. When your kid, my daughter's got a 2-year-old. You're not thinking about, what's the kind of relationship I want to have with my son when he's 19 years old? But it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So think about that, and same thing financially. What's the life I want to have? And it's hard to imagine that when you're young, especially when you're starting life and you have kids and you're just trying to make it, and we just want to own a house, so we just want to. I understand that, and there's help for that.
Yeah.
But trust me, and this is the thing your parents would tell you, right? This thing your grandparents would tell you. There comes a point where you end up in the result of your decisions, and And so it's almost like I just want people to think about that, because I want to be able to, like, man, in my 50s, I want to be able to, if we want to travel, let's travel. If we want to go do this, if we want to be able to take kids to go do stuff, let's go take the kids to do stuff. So if I can financially make some wise decisions so that I can do that, you just aren't thinking about it. But trust me, as somebody who's quickly approaching that, it becomes very real.
Yeah.
That is your life. And so if this can help people, that's, I don't know, that's my hope.
It's such an important book. I'm so happy for you, in not a weird way, but proud of I've read it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate that.
It's going to help a whole lot of people. I think it's a brilliant niche, and it's going to be an incredibly important resource. And graduates and parents, and if you're a leader in any situation, grab it. I know we're not I know title, Maturing 101. The roadmap to being good, and is that what you've landed on?
No,
okay.
I don't want to give the title yet. Probably by the time this comes out, I may have released that. So we're recording this, and when it comes out,
how can people in the meanwhile engage? And
well, I mean, as it comes out, I think there's a couple things that, again, as I kind of release it. Obviously, I would say this: you and I both have written books. As an author and somebody there's a massive investment that goes into writing these. Until you write a book and then release a book. Yeah. It's not just writing a book. Right. The process is brutal.
Yeah.
I think, I would say anybody you have in your life that would do a venture like this, if you, value the message and what they're saying, support them.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those books that I think we probably all know. Whether you're in that age group or you're not, we all know people, whether it's in our family or friends, who are like, oh, you might get it and read it and be 46 years old and go, I want to give this to my 14-year-old or 15-year-old if it's, appropriate, makes sense. It probably would work for a 15-year-old to help them, because it really talks about basics of money, budgeting, starting small, understanding about checking and savings accounts and online ones and all that, to even dating. I'd probably say dating is about the youngest. I would probably someone who's of dating age and older, just because I do talk about dating and beyond. So I think supporting that, and just really just being able to share word of mouth when it comes out. That my goal is to release it in October of this year. And so, I've had the people that I've talked to about it, and I mean, I've talked to some that have known right after I wrote it. There were friends that have hit me up who has a 16-year-old like, is the book out yet? Is the book out yet? Because here's the one thing I've found. A lot of times, kids do not want to listen to their parents. So parents, grandparents, this can be an opportunity for you to be able to leverage someone else's story and voice.
Yep.
You don't have to be the bad guy. It doesn't come across that way.
No.
But, and I'm looking at possibly some resources to go with each chapter that would be great for parents and grandparents or whatever, family members, to be able to engage in conversation. So whether it's a chapter on credit cards, hey, here's some things to create dialogue to talk about credit cards. Here's, you know what I mean, with your 15-year-old, with your 16-year-old, before they get into credit card trouble. You know what I mean? Help them understand the weight of it. So even that, buying cars, things like that. And so I think there's a benefit to a variety of ages, all ages. But I would say I kind of hope that this book has some, I don't know. It's a very different kind of book than my last one. It is a little bit more niche in probably who it targets. But I do think that there's a value at all ages to maybe consider the book, pick up the book, and be able to share it with nieces and nephews and people that you're close to, cousins. And, I think all of us, we go through different seasons. We know, they're graduating from high school. Oh, they're in college. Oh, they're in this age. I'm thinking about them. This could be a great book to send to them.
My buddy Alan, his son, Judah, is one of my godkids, and just now started driving. And growing fast. And I told Alan the other day, I said, you need to get Passion has a new book coming out that you need to get for Judah. I was telling him all about it. And even you have some unique insights and thoughts too. I shared with somebody the other day, your whole thought on premarital counseling. That you shouldn't have that when you get engaged. Because usually once you're engaged, you've already decided. But you should have that before. I actually brought that up with a couple of the church that came to me, asked me to pray for them there, and I just said, hey, I'm just gonna borrow PT thought. I actually think this is a great idea because I know they're serious, and
Yep.
I said before y'all even get engaged, and
I really do.
so
I agree. I think
yeah.
I think just to that point, I think premarital counseling, which we kind of require if we're going to officiate a wedding here in our community. I think honestly, a lot of times it's a formality for most of them. We've already sent out the invites. We've already reserved the space. It'd be too embarrassing. Like the best time to have that kind of conversation, that's what we help walk people through, compatibility, all that, is even before you're engaged.
Yep.
And so I think, I mean, again, I have kind of nuanced type view on a variety of things.
Yep. It's so good. It's so good. Can't wait. So excited for you.
Well, thank you.
And when we know the title,
we'll come back to
we'll come
title.
back.
Maybe
Yep.
have the physical book and the copy. When I get more details, I have a tentative date. I don't remember exactly what it is. I wrote it down. It's like the second week of October or somewhere in there of releasing it. I'm in the process of final edits with it now. Have to do cover design and the title and nailing all of that stuff down and formatting. And so I'm just that's kind of what I've been doing. Like that has been. You've been living. These projects kind of just take over your
really
life.
Do.
I mean,
they really do.
And I like to say it this way. I might even put this on the back of the book. Well, I don't think I put it on the back of the book, but I would say I may have written it in 30 days, but I actually have been writing it for 30 years.
Yes. Yeah.
This is really kind of over my last 30 years of being an adult, of really just like this is what's come from that. And I would say as well, a huge impact on the perspective and stuff is being a pastor. Understanding like I mean, not all, but a lot of these subjects are all subjects that I have wrestled through, taught on, have taught youth groups on, have done other things. Yeah. And so I've got, it's not just my own personal, but it's just come from being in a position of counseling couples, pre-marriage counseling, walking through couples in divorce. Like it comes from that experience as well, of being in a community and being with people and seeing, we do series usually every year. And my hope is to help people get to a really healthy place financially. So that it is not weighing on them, so that they can be generous if they want to be generous. So they can, and so I think that there's a lot that is not just my own life, but I think kind of it's been textured by what I've done for 22 years, 23 years.
Yep. You've distilled it into something
potent.
I
think that would be it.
And I'm so excited. It's going to be so good. Make sure if you don't follow Pastor Tim, you can follow him on Instagram. I know you'll be hitting it there. You're on TikTok now.
Yeah, we're launching into TikTok, and I'm supposed to be more active on my social media than I have been, but I also know that I think that's that reaches a specific age and demographic, and I think if you know anybody, if you're listening to this and you maybe don't go to this church, the church that we lead, but I'd say that's another way that you can. It can be. My hope is it can be a resource for young adult groups. It can be a resource for high school students, that youth groups, that those kind of ministries would go, hey, and we're looking at putting resources together for those specific audiences to go along with the book. So that other churches and things could go, hey, it can be a useful tool to talk about healthy financial stuff, healthy relationships, healthy parenting. It might be for young adults, and in the future. I talk about what does it look like to understand your future and what you're made for. And so
so good. So follow him, and like I said, you mentioned having been in your seat, I can tell you it is huge too when you can feel the groundswell of support. So as I would say, as you start posting it,
helping launch. I mean, we'll try to do what I did last time, which is a launch team. I'll go back to them, but I think especially if this is a subject that really does speak to you, and you hear this, DM me. Reach out and go, let me know if this is like, I want this, I'm excited about it. I think even just that in the process is really helpful to an author that has a message. Like, I want this for so-and-so. If you're connected to another church, I want to be able to share that with them, this pastor, I think that could be really helpful. And just hearing from people who go, oh, this sounds like a really needed book. Or, oh, this is something I want for my life. I did kind of pull some of our exco age when I was working on title and some of this.
Yeah.
And the feedback I got from all of them was, I cannot wait for this book.
Yeah.
I
That's
want
awesome.
it and I need it. So
That's awesome.
hopefully that sentiment travels.
This is going to be so needed. So needed. So good. So, all right. Stay tuned for updates.
Yeah.
And until next time, we will see you then when it comes out. Buying 10 copies.
No, that'd be nice if you did.
All right. We'll catch you next week.
Hey guys, it's Russ. Thanks so much for listening. We really believe if we can get around tables instead of behind screens, if we can talk to each other instead of at each other, we can make the world better. To help us do that, here are a few things you can do to help. First, if you haven't yet, leave a review on Apple or Spotify and hit subscribe on YouTube. This helps more than you know. Also, if you have been impacted by the community out of which this podcast comes, that's X Church. Maybe you're local or you've been touched by the messages and impact across the country, even the world. I want to encourage you to support this work. A powerful life principle is to invest in the people and places that invest in you. And so I want to invite you to do that right now by going to thex.church/give. You can give a one-time small gift, a sacrificial gift, or even become a recurring partner. Together, let's keep elevating the conversation, thinking higher, loving deeper, and making the world better. Cheers.